Good Yom Tov, and welcome to another Mayanot moment. This week's Parsha, we read about Yosef meeting the two ministers in jail. And it says Yosef comes over and he notices that their face is zoyafim, is depressed, is upset, is disappointed. And he went over to them and he asked them, why are you upset? Why are you depressed? And they told him the dreams, and Yosef translated the dreams. And there are many people that ask a question. Why is it that Yosef was so surprised to see the face of the inmates depressed, upset? I spent a few days in jail, not as an inmate, but more as a chaplain. And I could tell you, none of the faces there are happy faces. They're actually very depressed faces. So what's the surprise that Yosef comes in and sees their face is not happy? Of course they're not happy. Another question is that he feels that he is the one that has to ask him the question with surprise. Not just that he notices it, but he comes over to them and he says, why? Ponev Zoyafim. That he's surprised. Of course their face is depressed, and of course he should know that as being himself in jail, that that's the way their face looks. But more than that, Yosef is an individual. Let's not forget that at the age of 9 years old, his mother passed away. He was an orphan. At the age of 17, he was sold by his brothers, who throughout the ages despised him, did not like him, and threw him into a ditch full of scorpions, and then sold him to the Ishmaelim that brought them down to Egypt. And it's even brought down in Medrash. I just saw that on the way to Egypt they passed Cave Rachel, and Yosef noticed his mother's grave. Think about this child, 9 years old, an orphan, being hated by his brothers, and being sold as a slave, not by mafia, but by his own brothers. And he sees his mother's grave, and he went out, and he snuck out of the wagon, and he went over to his grave, and it says he was crying with bitter tears, Mama, Mama, what's going on with me? What's going on with this orphan? And it says Rachel Imeinu was crying with bitter tears, looking at her son. That's Nebuch being sold as a slave. And the Eibishter explained Rachel that there's a reason, there's a purpose in all this. And then he comes to the house of Potiphar. He's being accused of the worst things. And he's thrown into jail. I mean, this man, Rabbi Yosef HaTzadik, had every reason in the book for himself to be the most miserable person in the world. And what do we see? He walks into jail. Not just he himself is a confident, strong man, he's comforting others. How is that possible? A person that went through so much, sitting in a jail, there's no emails, there's no Twitter, there's no Facebook, there's no way anyone knows that he's alive. His brothers dipped the Kseinis Pasim, that beautiful shirt, and they dipped it in the blood and told the father that he's dead. No one knows he's alive, and he's walking around comforting others. How is that possible? And the Rebbe explains that really there are people that derive pleasure from something external. Then there are people that derive pleasure from something internal. We look at our own lives. When we are deriving pleasure from something external, the moment it's over, we have to find something else external, because that enjoyment ceases, it's gone. However, if you gain and you get pleasure from something internal, even though it might be a little bit difficult in the beginning, you're constantly enjoying the fact that you overcome this, and you challenge yourself. Maybe at the moment it might be difficult, but think of everything you did, whether you went to someone's wedding, whether you overcame a diet, whether you broke yourself and didn't get angry and you were able to turn that around to something positive. The happiness from that, understanding I was in a place and I was able to overcome that challenge. That excitement is a beautiful excitement that keeps you going throughout the day, throughout your life. When a person lives his life and knows it's not something external what's going around him, Hashem put him in a place in order for him to see the opportunities that exist where he is. His life is full of fulfillment. His life is full of enjoyment. Because he's able to, he knows that there's something deeper, something higher that will get him to a place where the Eibishter wants him to get. Yosef HaTzadik understood that whatever is around him, he's not getting excitement from a movie, from a fashion, or from something else. Yosef knew there's a plan. And he knew there's a plan, and anyone who comes in contact with him is part of that plan. And he was able to know and have emunah and bitachon that through coming to that plan, ultimately he will merit to see the plan. Like we see that's what happened. And that's a lesson of Yutas Kislev, which picks us up to a higher level to understand that it's not just what we see physically on the moment. It's the Hashgacha Pratis. When you look, that there's a special reason why Hashem put you there for you and for the person you come in contact with. That's why Yosef HaTzadik was able to be not just himself confident, but sensitive to others, sensitive to know that even a depressed person, when he's even more depressed, and be able to tell him, here, there's a mission, there's a reason, there's something going on, and be helpful to him and helpful to others. When we live a life like that, that's living a Mashiach life, a life that becomes spirituality, becomes a reality. And let us merit, by us living this way, we're able to all have a happy life. Not one that we have to look every day for something external to make us happy, but something internally that makes us truly and really happy. And with that, we should merit to the ultimate happiness, the coming of Mashiach. Good Yom Tov, Good Yom Tov.